Gaethje and Khabib are in agreement about Tony Ferguson's future. From MMAnews.com. Okay, this is a long quote, okay? So bear with me.
Okay,
very long.
do it.
Justin Gaethje and Khabib Nurmagomedov are in agreement. Tony Ferguson will not be relevant in the lightweight title picture moving forward. It was not long after Justin Gaethje dominated Tony Ferguson at UFC 249 when UFC lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov gave a prediction for the remainder of Tony Ferguson's fighting career. And I understand Tony Ferguson's time is finished. Now he's going to come back and someone's going to beat him again, I believe. Because when you take damage like this, you're never going to be the same. Khabib's prediction came true, and that someone who beat him was Charles Oliveira at UFC 256. The man who delivered the damage to Ferguson that Khabib was referring to is former interim lightweight champion Justin Gaethje. Gaethje's words about Ferguson mirrored Khabib's almost verbatim following Ferguson's loss to Oliveira. I was impressed with Oliveira, but yeah, I don't want to take anything away from him, but Tony Ferguson was not the same person, Gaethje told ESPN in a recent interview. No one's going to be the same person after you get hit in the face that many times, ever. That's a funny quote coming from Justin Gaethje. No one's going to be the same.
The man that's absorbed so many shots. No, there's been a lot of fighters who've taken a lot of damage and still been able to make comebacks and stuff like that. You see a lot more at heavyweight as opposed to like the lighter weights. But Justin Gaethje is Tony Ferguson has like. He still has stuff in his tank. Like he's able to win these fights. He's not completely
fight. I don't know what the hell he was doing last fight.
He doesn't look like he's like an old. He doesn't look like he's like an old man out there, right? It was just the matchup wasn't in his favor. Like Charles Oliveira is a guy that with a very very high jiu-jitsu, very high jiu-jitsu and grappling game, and you had Tony Ferguson who just constantly. Tries to implement his game plan, which is like go forward at all times and try to overwhelm with volume. The thing is that Charles Oliveira does the same thing, and he's very very lanky, and he's very very good at the same type of things.
So Ferguson basically.
Yeah, he's like a different version of Ferguson. He's a little bit more patient sometimes, but. Like that fight went to decision. He got caught in Ferguson got caught in an armbar that he should have tapped out to. He probably that's something I haven't looked up. How is his arm? Like
it was injured actually. It was injured. So yeah, I think he got surgery for the arm.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I think so.
So like Ferguson, I think he's had a very very good career. I'm never gonna tell him to retire or not retire and stuff like that. I think. If you take him out of the top 5 for now and you give him some time to recover and to reevaluate some things in his game plan, he can come back and do very, very good things. Like, let's not forget, there's the Tony Ferguson that we all knew, the one that's so dominant and stuff like that.
He's gone.
Was only 2 fights previous to today. So that person, the El Kukui that we all knew, was right before Justin Gaethje, right? So that's the guy that we know and love. Then he goes and he loses to Charles. But realistically speaking, it's only 2 fights. Yes, he did leave a piece of himself in that cage after Justin Gaethje. Charles Oliveira didn't do that much damage to him, like in comparison to Justin Gaethje. But there's a big chance that Tony could come back in, go on like a 2-fight win streak and fight for the title again. It just really depends on what he does outside of the cage, and it gives himself time to prepare and to relax and take his time and do what he wants to do outside the octagon, while balancing in his health and his MMA future. Like I know he's starting to do stuff with his community, and he's starting to do stuff with his own gym and stuff like that. But he's gone through a lot of change. I think it was the Charles Oliveira fight where he started talking about, I don't have head coaches anymore. I don't have coaches. I have trainers, which I get. Like essentially every MMA fighter has trainers, but they have a head coach that plans everything. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's the reason why he lost to Charles Oliveira and that's the reason why he lost to Justin Gaethje. It's just something maybe that he has to reevaluate. Maybe he needs somebody as a coach to tell him like, okay, this is your game plan. You can't just go there on a straight line and just pressure fighters like that, because they're just going to be guys that are going to counter you like Justin Gaethje, or guys that are just going to outperform you like Charles Oliveira.
So here's a question for you. Do you think that the UFC finally has caught up to Tony Ferguson, like in a way that like he's been figured out?
In a sense, maybe yes, but at the same time, so something that's very strange about the situation of Tony Ferguson. If you watch his previous fights to Justin Gaethje, they did go similar to how the Justin Gaethje and Charles Oliveira fights go. Very early on, he's exchanging with his opponents, and he gets dropped, or the opponent gets the better of him. But the difference between Charles Oliveira and Justin Gaethje fights compared to all the other ones is Tony Ferguson gets down, yes, but then he, as the fight goes on, he's able to outperform his opponent. He just keeps up that volume, keeps up the pace. So we've seen him, like when I was watching the Justin Gaethje fight and the Charles Oliveira fight, I was like, okay, he took that dip, but now he's gonna hit his peak. He's gonna hit his stride, and he's gonna be able to do what he did to like RDA. He's able to do what he did to Pettis, right? All these guys. So maybe he needs to reevaluate, or like take a look at why is he constantly in the beginning of the rounds of all these fights being down. Like, why is that something mental where he needs to be down in order to come back and win the fights? And is that his downfall, right? Is that his downfall where because he's down so much, his body can't get him back up? His brain, his hands, his mental, everything can't get him back to that peak, which is what he's used to. Typically, he would go down those peaks and then he would make it back up, right? Like there's like fights like Lando Venata, for example, where Lando had him in a lot of trouble, and then you saw Tony Ferguson do those rolls, and then he eventually got himself together and beat Lando in that fight. I forget, I think it was by submission or Darce choke or something. So
probably Darce choke.
Yeah. So you see Tony Ferguson have these similar type of fights. It's just the ending is just different right now. But I don't know if he can change that. I don't know if he can change that decline that he has in that first or second round, or if he can just change like everything about his game so that he's able to take less damage but also do everything that he's good at. So he's very good at in the clinch with his elbows. He's very good at forward pressure. He's very good on the ground, defensively on his back and on top. So he still has these stuff in his game. He just maybe has to tweak some stuff based off of his opponent, because it seems as if he goes to every single fight with the same type of game plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just to finish off your point, I'm gonna say two things, okay? So the first thing is I think that either he should move up in weight, because you see Ferguson, right? He's built pretty wide, right?
Yeah.
And I think personally he could probably go up like to
205?
No, not 205. To 165, right? I think probably go to that. If not that, I think he has.
There's no 165. There's no 165. There's only 170.
Or 160. No. Oh yeah, sorry. I thought there was a catchweight division, right?
You're thinking of other stuff.
Yeah, sorry, never mind. But if not that, I think he has one fight in him left. If he loses, I think it's time to hang up the gloves.
No, okay.
That's my opinion.
He's made comments about how he is a big guy and he can make 170, or he should be at 170, but he just makes 155.
Just make catchweight. And then,
there's no catch weight. Dana White hates catch weight.
Yeah, but there's rumors about it.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there's rumors for it.
There's rumors for it? There's always rumors for it. But Dana White
has... remember?
Yeah. Dana White has said many times that the 165 is not going to happen. Because he's in the camp of saying, if 165 happens, you're just going to have all these guys that couldn't make it at 155 and couldn't make it at 170 to jump to 165, and then you deplete 170 and 155, and at the same time 165 is just like this free-for-all of guys going up and down without any consistency. We've seen that thing happen though, the inconsistency with top level fighters, where we see guys like Izzy now going up to 205. We see Conor going to 170 and then 155, 170, 155. We see GSP go from 170 to 185, right? We at the top of the heap, we see these guys jump up and down. Max Holloway went to 155 and went back to 145. So I get what he means. There's gonna be like this huge rush of these guys are maybe like Paul Felder. Why wouldn't he be like, okay, forget this, I'm gonna go try 165, maybe I can be a champion there, right? So Charles Oliveira would be like, yo, forget this, I'm gonna make 165. He missed weight. He has trouble with making weight in the past at like 145. I think he's been perfect at 155. I'm not sure, but he's had a history of not making weight. So, but back to the point, Tony Ferguson, let him come back, take his time, do what he wants. Don't force him to fight like a guy in top 5 and then use his name as like a way to catapult them to title fight. Just to have a fun fight at 155, see what happens, and then we can go from there.